Guys, today we've got the final Yeezy drop, Travis Scott's new upcoming sneaker collection, and Nike is still being plagued by organized crime. We've also got a ton more, but let's first do a release recap, starting off with these, which I actually had no idea that these even released. This is the Bad Bunny Adidas Response CL, the Boston Day colorway. Now, these released exclusively at Concept, so I'm not surprised that I had no idea that these dropped. And then, of course, the biggest release for the week was this massive Yeezy drop, so let's go over the stuff that has dropped and the stuff that's still upcoming. You guys out in the US got the high-res Quantum and also the Pirate Black 950 boot. Let me know how the release went. I'm actually very curious to hear whether they sold out, whether they sat, especially these 950 boots because they were so freaking expensive. Now, to pretty much everybody's surprise, the freaking Wave Runners actually restocked. This actually seemed to be like there was a small amount of pairs because they just shock dropped. It was literally open for an hour in terms of the draw, so hardly anybody managed to get these things. If you did, that's a big W. This is probably the last time they're ever gonna drop for retail. The Slate Gray slides also dropped, I believe, on the 18th or the 19th. Currently still on the gap with the draw ending tomorrow is the Yeezy 700 Utility Black. We're also getting the Static 350s restocking for the first time ever. And then finally the MX Dark Salt, which is a phenomenal colorway. Definitely a strong one to go and enter for. Let me know your L's and W's down in the comment section. Let's get into this upcoming stuff, starting off with a little Drake rumor. Drake knocked to revive the Nike Air Zoom Drive in 2023. This is actually a story that we heard quite a while ago, but now we actually have a look at the pair of shoes themselves. I mean, to be honest, they really don't look like anything that special. They definitely have a lot of DNA from the Hot Step sneaker, I believe. Like, the midsole looks very, very familiar. Obviously, this one does have an Air Zoom unit, which is exposed on the back. It's actually not a bad design. I just don't think it's that compelling. I feel like Drake and Nocta need to do something incredibly different if they're actually going to put out some really high demand sneakers. Either way, this pair should be coming at some point here in 2023, and I imagine they're working on some other silhouettes as well. Okay, so this one's pretty weird. Take a look at this. The Air Jordan 1 Low 85 in neutral gray is coming late 2023. Now, what I think is so weird about this one is that they literally just dropped a neutral gray version of the Jordan 1 Low back in 2020. Now, I get it that this one is supposed to be the 85 version, meaning it's a little bit more accurate to the 1985 pair, but I mean, is there really that much in it to warrant another release of these things 2 years, 3 years later? I mean, it doesn't really look like they've changed that much up with the pair of shoes. Maybe just add a little bit more of a vintaged out sail midsole. The upper isn't like cracked leather or anything pretty crazy like that. Either way, it looks like this pair is going to be dropping October the 25th. If you want a more accurate Jordan 1 Low in terms of the 85 cut to the original, then maybe this is a pair for you. It's going to be retailing for $170 this time, so yeah, you're gonna have to make up your mind on that one. Right, we got a little first looks pair for you guys. Take a look at this. This is the WTAPS New Balance 990 V6. This is kind of getting a little bit repetitive at this point. New Balance and their collaborators, they pretty much go for the same people, all very, very similar, and they really do not change much about the pair of shoes itself at all. This one comes in an all-over gray colorway. It's slightly different to the New Balance gray, just a little bit. It seems like a little bit more of a, maybe a greenish hue in there. All over, it's a 990 V6. It's a solid, super comfortable silhouette. It's a very, very subtle collaboration. If you're into that, these should be dropping at some point this year. However, we do not have a release date as of right now. Another first look shows us the upcoming Powderpuff Girls Nike SB Dunk Low. As of right now, I think all we've seen is literally just the eyeballs on the back of the shoe. Well, now we've got a little look at the side profile of these sneakers. So we're going to start off over here with the blue one. I actually forget their names. Got a lighter sock liner, a yellow Nike swoosh, which makes a lot of sense for the hair color. And then let's scroll down to the green one. We've got to look at the side profile over here as well. This one looks like to be leather instead of nubuck or suede, which is interesting. Black Nike swoosh, black midsole, which is quite nice actually. And then of course we've got this pink one over here with the orange accents to represent the hair color. And this one's a little bit more hard to tell. It kind of looks like it's going to be a nubuck material, but again, we're going to have to wait and see. These are all going to be coming in a full family size run, which is pretty crazy. So it's going to be 135 for the men's sizes, 90 for the preschoolers, and 75 for the toddlers, and they're all going to be dropping on December the 14th. Let me know down in the comments which one is your favorite colorway, or if you would rock any of them. All right, we've got a pair of Jordan 1s, which I actually completely forgot about that was even going to be dropping this this year, but it is this one, the Air Jordan 1 High OG Celedon, or the OG Craft Celedon. Like when I first saw this pair of shoes, I thought it was one of those Zoom Comfort sneakers. And then I looked closer and I was like, oh yeah, that is actually a regular pair of Jordan 1. Materials actually look pretty solid as far as this white leather goes, and then the fact that all of this is going to be a suede or nubuck material. I think they do look pretty solid. I mean, the thing is, it's just that we've had a bunch of Jordan 1. There's so many solid colorways that are so affordable. I can go and pick up the freaking UNCs for a very reasonable price. Am I going to be picking these unless I absolutely love this colorway, or am I just going to take UNCs or freaking black toe lows? Me personally, I'm taking those every single time. But if you do really like this colorway, expect these to see a release on December the 23rd. Right, who of you guys out there just freaking love your Supreme Air Force 1? Guys, you're going to have another colorway added to your roster. Take a look at this one over here. The Supreme Nike Air Force 1 Low Baroque Brown is coming this holiday season. I imagine these are going to replace that wheat colorway that it was just a little bit lighter. This one is just solid Baroque brown, just very, very dark. You can get some close-ups over here. Of course, you get those extra laces away. Of course, you got that tiny, tiny little box logo on the back over there. I don't think these are going to be more popular than the black or the white pair, but I mean, hey, for the winter time, for the fall time, it's not a bad option if you do like the Supreme Forces. Now, we don't actually have a specific release date for this pair, just holiday 2023. Right, we've got a couple of releases which I wanted to mention because they are right around the corner. Starting off with this pair of Kobe's over here. This is the Nike Kobe 8 Protro Halo. Something that we spoke about last week. It's kind of kicking off the new revitalized Nike Kobe line. This all over solid white colorway is definitely in high demand. I've seen a lot of people saying that they want to get their hands on this. There's a ton of different raffles that have loaded up throughout the EU, the UK, and obviously the US as well. Now, these are going to be dropping for the first time ever in a full family size run. They're dropping on August the 23rd, and they're going to retail for $180, at least in the men's sizing. Definitely be on the lookout and enter those raffles if you are after it, because I imagine they're going to be very hard to get. Another one which I thought was supposed to drop this month, however, we don't have a specific release date. These bad boys right here, the freaking off-white canary yellows. This is kind of like the we got the Jordan 1 canary yellows at home kind of shoe. This is the closest we're going to get. It's called the Varsity Maze Off-White Air Force 1 Mid. It feels like we've seen so many off-white Air Force 1 mids. It's getting a little bit crazy at this point. It's like, how many more do you want to release? Like, this is not a bad colorway. I just really like the Grim Reaper on the back there. I think that looks pretty solid, but yeah, it's not my favorite colorway of the Off-White's Air Force 1 mid. It should be dropping this month at some point, if not just at some point this holiday season. Right, another release which is right around the corner, of course, the Yuto Horigome Nike SB Dunk Low. This is another very, very high demand sneaker release. It's actually going to be dropping on August the 29th. Now, this is probably one of my favorite Nike SB Dunk Lows that's going to be dropping this year. I mean, it is just such a clean colorway. Extra laces are brown, white, or sail, and then pink. Enter those raffles if you want them, and be on the lookout for when they do load up on the Nike Sneakers app. Alright, let's talk about this Nike story because it's pretty insane. Like, literally last week we were talking about how Nike is being hit with organized crime. And there was this whole article talking about how organized crime is responsible for stolen Nike sneakers at every point of the supply chain. And what's so crazy about this is, like, the very next day this story came up where they were talking about another $400,000 worth of Nike sneakers were taken from that North Memphis facility again. And I was like, is this an old story that's just resurfacing? But no, it's another freaking heist targeted at Nike sneakers. So this is it over here, and they're talking about some of the shoes being the Nike Dunk Low Panda. I'm sure there's a bunch because literally $400,000 worth of Nike products were taken. Now, apparently this robbery took place on August the 7th at around 6:30 a.m. Officers chased after 4 suspects who fled the scene, and they caught Terry Sullivan and Robert Doyle, but the remaining 2 suspects got away on foot. They've now arrested 2 of them, which will be very interesting to see what kind of develops from this. This is like the 3rd or 4th story of Nike getting robbed of their sneakers. Remember, the $800,000 worth of product was stolen. The Los Angeles Police Department recovered $7 million worth of Nike stolen sneakers. So there's got to be some kind of Nike employees that are doing an inside job and helping these people out to steal all of these sneakers. Alright, this is one of the coolest Jordan 1 lows that I've seen in quite a while. It looks tasty. Aaron Judge just got his first exclusive Air Jordan 1 low. Take a look at these, called the Double Gum. I don't know whether they actually come with this packaging or whether this is just for the photo shoot, but I think it would actually be kind of cool if they did come with this packaging. One thing that I thought was really cool was the texture of the actual shoe. Like, look at this texture, just to kind of look like that bubble gum that has that texture. You can see it's got the speckling as well. Same thing as Bubblegum. I don't know if it's ever going to be released or if it is just his personal pair of shoes at PE, but it is definitely something pretty cool to look at. These are the Double Gum Jordan 1 lows. Right, we've got a brand new Jordan rumor for next year. Take a look at this. The yellow ochre Air Jordan 6 rumored to drop in February 2024, and we've actually got an image of it over here. So yeah, I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory, nothing crazy here. Just all over yellow nubuck with the white leather panels, which is actually looking pretty solid. Similar to the carmine color blocking, just obviously yellow ochre now. Again, apparently these are going to be dropping February the 3rd, 2024, so we'll have to wait and see, but here's your first look. All right, I don't know what happened to the first pair, but apparently we've got another one dropping as soon as this month. Take a look at this here. This is the Purpoise Terror Squad Nike Air Force 1. I know that the black and white colorway was supposed to drop this month. It might still be upcoming in the next few days. Apparently this one has actually been loaded up on Nike's back end, so we may see a drop very, very soon. Of course, you got the TS embroidery on the back. So yeah, we just got another colorway to add to this Terror Squad roster. All right, this one is pretty hilarious. So we've got some Travis Scott news, and the first one I want to talk about is those freaking Cactus Jack Utopia Air Force 1s. So apparently people are pretty upset that the Travis Scott Utopia Air Force 1 has the exact same SKU as a regular pair of Forces. I mean, I literally called it. What I said when these first kind of released was that I think it was just kind of like a panic release. It's like Nike and Travis Scott wanted something to release to the people. Obviously, their other collaborations that they were working on weren't ready. But we've got some spare white Air Force 1s in the back. Let's just print your name on it and ship it out there. That means they don't have to do any promo. All they have to do is put a rendered image up on Travis Scott's website. They just see how many orders flood in. Okay, we need to print 100,000 of these things. Let's do it. They come in the same box. It's the same SKU. It's the exact same pair. We just jacked up the price on these things and we are shipping them out to you. At the end of the day, it is the exact same all-white Air Force 1 that you can pick up on Nike's website. It just has the Utopia print on the back. So whether you're upset by that or not, it's something that you kind of should have seen coming. It's definitely something where they just wanted to make some extra money off of this album launch. Speaking of Travis Scott and his Jordan brand collaborations, this new Cut the Check line is finally, the puzzle's kind of coming together. We got some of these missing pieces. I know that there's going to be a bunch of sneakers coming through as part of this Cut the Check line, and we've seen more and more of them over the past few months. This is actually the best look yet at this kind of reverse mocha colorway. What I find so interesting about these images is you can literally see the panels. This does just literally look like a mixture of like an Air Trainer and a Jordan 1 low. It's really interesting to see Travis Scott use the same colorways that he's done on previous, the reverse mocha Jordan 1 low is literally this pair over here. This colorway is looking pretty solid. I don't mind it at all. Now, of course, we've got the black and white pair that he was wearing in the gym. This one over here seems to be the exact same thing, just maybe a slightly higher cut than a pair of Jordan 1 lows, but it is really hard to tell because all we've seen is him wearing them. Then, of course, the one that we've seen the most in a lot of his music videos is this one over here. This is kind of like the olive colorway. Now, it is kind of hard to see which ones are going to be dropping this holiday season. According to Soul Retriever over here, we're going to be getting 3 different colorways this year, and that is the Cut the Check black colorway, the Cut the Check sail colorway, and then another black colorway. The rest are all going to be dropping in 2024. We should start seeing some more kind of in-hand images of this pair of shoes, get a better idea at how they're going to release and what they're exactly going to look like. Yeah, drop your thoughts down in the comment section of the entire Travis Scott Cut the Check line. All right, let's get into this Yeezy news. So we've got a couple brand new Yeezy leaks, which I wanted to go over, and then we're going to get into the next and final Yeezy drop for this month. This is the Yeezy Foam Runner Antique MX Granite, releasing 2023, retailing for $90. Now, this one I believe is going to be dropping very, very soon. And what's interesting about this pair of foam runners is that we haven't seen it as part of any of these other people saying that they're going to drop this month in August, but I think these actually could potentially drop like literally in the next batch of Yeezys that comes through. Again, we don't exactly know, but we've seen this pair popping up more and more recently, so I think it could be very, very possible. Probably one of the better foam runners that we're going to have seen. A lot of the other colorways look very, very similar, so this one will be a little bit different, a little bit more refreshing, and one that I do really like. Now, Master Chef Ian from Private Selection gave us a little look at this new Yeezy Slide sample. Apparently this has a different kind of texture to it, which you can see when he kind of flips it over to the side, which is very, very hard to see on camera, but this texture over here gives it some kind of weird like reptilian look because of this green colorway. Either way, I wanted to show you this sample over here. We've got another Yeezy Slide sample, which is this one over here. This is the white salt colorway. Now, I believe we've seen quite a few different leaks of this one, so these potentially could be a production pair, which would make sense. I mean, an all over white pair of Yeezy Slides, something that we haven't seen yet, that would make a lot of sense. But yeah, I'm not ruling out any of these samples from potentially releasing because there's a lot of stuff that kind of surprised us. The fact that those orange quantums were dropping, that was a big surprise for a lot of people. Even the fact that the 950 boots were actually going to be dropping, that's something that a lot of people said was not going to be dropping. All right, so let's get back into this month. So we've had 3 different Yeezy releases in terms of like their batches of Yeezys so far. So 3 different drops. So next week is when the 4th and I believe the final Yeezy drop should be taking place. Now, I know of 3 different sneakers that should be part of that, plus there should be some others involved as well. So the first one up is definitely the least interesting, at least in my opinion, and that is the Yeezy Slide Granite. Very, very similar to the last colorways that we had. Now, I think this is going to be the darkest one out of all of them, so the slate gray and the slate marine. Those, I believe, are a little bit lighter than this granite colorway. Now, another one is going to be the Yeezy 700 V2 Static. This is the original kind of 700 V2 colorway. These are really, really solid. I have the cream colorway, so this is not one that's like super exciting for me because they're so freaking similar. But if you did want it, it's one of my favorite colorways of the 700 V2, and the 700 V2 in general is just an awesome pair of shoes. And then, of course, a restock of the Yeezy 700 V3 Azrael. Again, another pair of shoes, which is like one of my favorite Yeezys of all time. It's an incredible colorway. I only managed to get my hands on it over the last Yeezy day where they actually had a restock, and I freaking loved them ever since. So yeah, phenomenal pair of shoes, and definitely if you don't have this one, grabbing it for retail is a solid option. Now, obviously 3 shoes is not enough for the next release. I'm sure there's going to be some other ones part of it, maybe some surprise releases. Definitely want to keep your eyes on the Adidas Confirmed app because they will load up. I'm going to keep you guys updated the best I can over here on YouTube, and of course my Instagram. If you want to follow me over there, I can just upload it and you get that information straight away. But there you have it, guys. That is all of the stories I got for you this week. Thank you for joining me here on Upcoming Sneakers. If you want to check out all of the upcoming potential Yeezys that could be part of this month's drops, well, check out that video over there.